Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender who operated for decades with protection most criminals never see. This is not rumor. This is not internet theory. These are facts pulled from court records, sworn testimony, flight logs, and official investigations. Epstein presented himself as a financier. There was no transparent hedge fund, no verified client list, no clear explanation for his wealth. Yet he owned multiple mansions, private jets, and a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Money without a source is not success. It is leverage. According to sworn victim testimony, Epstein used a recruitment system. Girls, many underage, were recruited by other girls. That detail matters. Recruitment through peers lowered suspicion and created pressure. Payment was offered in cash. Cash leaves no paper trail. The offer was framed as massage work. That framing appears repeatedly in court filings. Once inside Epstein's properties, boundaries were pushed. Victims described being pressured into sexual acts. Refusal triggered manipulation, not force. Epstein reminded victims of their age. He reminded them they had accepted money. He reminded them that powerful people were involved. This is documented psychological coercion. Several victims stated they were photographed. Others reported constant references to Epstein's connections. The message was consistent. You are disposable. They are untouchable. Epstein did not operate alone. Court records and witness statements describe drivers who transported girls, pilots who flew them across state and national borders, house staff who scheduled rooms and managed access, assistants who handled payments and logistics. His private jet was later labeled by media as the Lolita Express. That label came from flight logs, not gossip. Those logs are real documents. They show repeated flights involving politicians, business leaders, and public figures. Names appearing in Epstein-related records include former U.S. President Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew of the British royal family, and billionaire Leslie Wexner, among others. Important clarification: appearing in flight logs or contact books is not proof of criminal activity, but it is proof of proximity. And proximity is power. Epstein kept detailed contact books, names, numbers, addresses. When portions became public, legal pressure followed immediately. Documents were sealed. Cases were delayed. Settlements were reached quietly. Multiple witnesses, including victims and associates, suggested Epstein collected compromising material. Photos, videos, private encounters. There is no final court ruling proving blackmail, but the pattern is documented. In intelligence and organized crime, this practice has a name: compromat. In 2008, Epstein was arrested in Florida on sex crime charges involving minors. This should have ended his operation. Instead, it produced one of the most controversial plea deals in modern U.S. legal history. Epstein served minimal jail time. He was granted work release. He left jail most days. Most critically, the deal included language that protected unnamed co-conspirators from federal prosecution. Unnamed. Protected. This fact is not disputed. The question is why? Years later, in 2019, federal prosecutors arrested Epstein again. This time, the case was federal. The evidence base was larger. The witness list was longer. Epstein was facing life in prison. For the first time, the legal system posed a real threat. Because testimony would not have stopped at Epstein. It never does. Weeks later, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official ruling was suicide, but documented failures immediately followed. Epstein had previously been placed on suicide watch, then removed. Surveillance cameras malfunctioned. Guards failed to perform required checks. These failures are not disputed. They are in official reports. Epstein never testified. No full trial occurred. No comprehensive network exposure happened in open court. Dead defendants end cases. That is not conspiracy. That is how the system works. Jeffrey Epstein was a predator. That is proven. But predators do not operate at that scale for that long without protection. The uncomfortable fact is this: Epstein's greatest asset was not money, sex, or secrecy. It was access. And access is currency in power structures. The real question is not whether Epstein abused people. That is established. The real question is who benefited from his silence. If you want more investigations built on documents, testimony, and verifiable records, subscribe to this channel. Because some stories are not hidden by accident. They are hidden because exposure would damage people who still hold power.